Hi, thank you for joining this webinar. We'll give it a couple of minutes and we'll let some of the other attendees join and we'll make a start. Thank you. Okay, we'll make a start. Thank you for joining us. This is the second part of our two-part series of balancing innovation with security. So just to go through the panel, it's a short panel today. It's myself, I'm the Solutions Director for Workspace at XMA, and I'm joined by Daniel Madison from Zscaler. Hi, Daniel.
Hi there, Terry. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, thanks for joining us. So just to give you an overview of the agenda, it's high level. So we'll be talking about our workspace solutions, just giving you an overview on kind of what that is and how we help customers. And then we'll go through some of the past webinars that we've done over the weeks. So just kind of showing how we're helping customers navigate the new normal. And then we'll move over to today's focus, which is balancing innovation and security. The second part with Zscaler, we'll be talking about transforming internet and web security. And then I've moved out the questions section, but if you do have any questions, we'll answer them as we go along. If we don't answer them at the end or before the end of the webinar, there'll be some contact details at the end. So feel free to contact either your account managers if you have one, or use those details that are on the screen, and that kind of bring us to the end of the webinar. So to give you an overview of what XMA's workspace solutions are, our job really is to help organizations remove the complexity that's associated with traditional end user computing. And we're probably the only reseller in the UK and probably Europe as well that focus on the three major OS platforms, so Apple, Google and Microsoft. And we have a really strong relationship of complementary partners that we work with, such as Zscaler, who are joining us today. And kind of the way we do it is we break it out into 4 key areas. So the first part we focus on is around deployment and management. So that might be transforming the management of Windows devices, so moving from legacy management like SCCM to autopilot. It might be using Apple Business Manager, Apple School Manager, Android Zero Touch, Knox Mobile Enrollment, all those kind of things. We can support you with all of that. We also help with EUC infrastructure management, and we can help customers containerize legacy applications so they can run on pretty much any device. We then kind of move from deployment management to security and control. So that's everything to do with the user, the data, endpoint, and access management. That brings us around to productivity and collaboration. So we support customers with applications and desktops, so whether that's virtual apps, virtual desktops, SaaS apps, mobile apps, we can support you with the whole portfolio really. And if you need custom development, so we can support you with that side as well. And we also focus on robotic process automation. And then the last bit really is when we've done all that, we can help you gain insights into utilization of the technology, so devices, software, and monitoring and event management. So it's quite a high level overview, but that kind of gives you a flavour of the sorts of things that we do in Workspace. And kind of what we found is with things the way they are at the moment, that quadrant in an ideal world, that is the way organizations would work. They would start with deployment management, work through security and control, and then kind of work that way around in the clockwise way. But what we found is with what's happened over the last couple of months now, that's not really the case. So what we have worked on is with partners is to put a series of webinars together and help customers navigate the new normal. So these ones are available on demand. So we started off initially with preparing for business continuity. So there's elements that we talked about, remote PC access, virtualization, shifting from VPN to a software-defined perimeter, which we'll discuss again today. Then we kind of talked about developing a digital capability. So Pocket organizations might have been previously using Office 365 or G Suite across pockets of their organization, and with COVID, they've probably been been catapulted to deploy that across the organization. So the webinars here were how can we help you gain insights into deploying the right technology across the right groups of users, and understanding which groups of users might be struggling and where we need to work with you to develop some engaging training plans. And then kind of when we've done that, we need to have a look at the security element. And that's what the third series of webinars were, 2 parts. So last week we talked about managing exposure to cyber risks, and today we're talking about how you transform internet and web security with Zscaler. So that brings me quite nicely onto this slide here. So Daniel, I'm just going to pass over control to you. So you should have control now, Daniel.
Yeah, that's great. Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Brilliant. So I suppose that leads us nicely into Zscaler and where do we fit into this? And I suppose a lot of the conversations that I'm having with organizations at the moment typically is around digital transformation. So whether it's companies looking to adopt additional cloud services, applications moving to the cloud, users stepping outside of the corporate network, looking to work from anywhere and be proactive. And I suppose obviously the unique situation that we're in at the moment of pretty much 100% of everyone's workforce now becoming effectively a remote mobile worker, and the internet being the security layer and accessing all of these connections together. But I suppose before we step into this, it'd be good just to highlight, I suppose, what is the traditional, what is the norm, what do companies currently look at, and how are they protecting their users and their data? And it's very much around the hub and spoke architecture, hub and spoke model. When companies over a long period of time, they had their applications, they had their users, which should be on network. Their users would connect to that network and access those internal resources and those internal applications. Life was good, life was safe. We knew where our users were and we knew where our applications were. But I suppose as the internet came about and our users needed to break out to the open internet to be able to access information, what we essentially did was we dropped down this drawbridge, we dropped down this layer to allow our users to access the open internet. But naturally, we needed to make sure that they did this safe. So from firewalls to URL filters, this drawbridge started to accumulate a number of different services, a number of different products to be able to keep our network and keep our data safe. So whether that's antiviruses, data loss prevention tools, SSL scanning, obviously I know that's quite a big one at the moment with more of the internet traffic becoming SSL as a standard. But I suppose to make it a little bit more complex, when we brought that mobility side into the equation, is our users started to step outside of the corporate network. They started to work remote and they still needed to be able to access those internal resources. Or it's a case of they needed to be able to access the open internet and you didn't want them to go direct out to the internet with no protection whatsoever. So rather than just a simple VPN connection, this was global load balancers, it was DDoS prevention to be able to protect that network from that external threat, firewalls, VPNs, etc. So over a period of time, what we've essentially built is this layered outbound and inbound security approach to be able to protect this network and bring our users back onto the network. And typically this would be in 1, 2, or 3 main locations, because when you're talking to companies that have got offices widely spread around the country and around the globe, it's an expensive overhead to purchase all of these hardware appliances and obviously water and feed them on a constant basis. So that was really the norm, and this is when I'm speaking to a lot of companies, and this is typically what we're looking at. But I suppose when we're looking into this digital transformation journey, as more applications are moving to the cloud, we're faced with a couple of challenging points where we're having users complaining and saying, hey, look, my internet is quicker at home than it is when I'm trying to access internal resources, and why is my computer quicker than when it is when I'm having to go and come back onto the network? You've got board members as well echoing that and saying, why is this taking so long? And then you've got other board members asking, well, if our data is moving to the cloud, how secure are we? Who's accessing that? And is cloud really a secure way to go? And there's all of these different variables that are getting asked to IT and I suppose causing some pain, causing some headaches. I suppose at this point, Zscaler, and divert you to our website if you'd like to, I suppose, have a look at the security assessments that we've got. So we've got that internet security assessment and that external attack surface assessment to be able just to have a look at the security score if that is a concern of yours. But I suppose what we're looking at here, from looking at a digital transformation mode, is really companies try and tackle this in three ways. So it really starts with application transformation. We're starting to move more applications out of the data center to try and be agile, to try and be more mobile, whether that's in the form of software as a service with Office 365 or Salesforce, or maybe we're seeing it's more cost effective to take some of those internal applications and put them into a multi-purpose cloud such as AWS or Microsoft Azure. So it really starts with this application transformation journey. But the application transformation journey really can't work without a network transformation, because when we're looking at that direct to cloud, that fast user experience, it's a case of making a lot of that network, a lot of that east-west traffic now completely irrelevant, which really leads us on to the third point. How can you do application transformation without doing network transformation? And you cannot do network transformation unless you have a look at some sort of security transformation, because having the security on network and backhauling your users via a convoluted way to that network to go through that on-premise security appliances is against the best practice, and that's why you're seeing the poor user experience and high latency. And really, this is where Zscaler fits into the motion of being that inline cloud security gateway to be able to access internal and external data over the internet. So Zscaler or Zscaler, I suppose, depending on what side of the fence you're sat on, is sitting in that digital exchange. We're becoming the middle person to be able to connect users to applications and secure them going over the open internet. So Zscaler as a whole and who we are and how we've been built was the case on Jay Chowdley, the founder and owner of CEO of Zscaler, saw that two big mega shifts were going to be apparent in IT, which was both cloud and mobility. And in doing this, he built our service from the ground up to be able to, I suppose, protect our users and protect our companies in some very unique ways. So being built from the ground up and being delivered as a service and being what we would call true cloud architecture. So not having any of the legacy architecture that essentially companies are looking to try and virtualize and put into this new model. We're able to really scale with our customers. So I've been working with Zscaler, albeit at a partner previously, to come in at Zscaler. But one of the unique things that I see when presenting these slides is that 100 billion transactions processed a day. I remember working with Zscaler, and that was around 35 billion transactions just a couple of years ago. And really, what does that mean? www.google.com, that is a transaction. We're doing about 10x on what Google are able to do with the transactions processed a day. So the amount of traffic, the amount of data we're processing, and obviously feeding that into our threat intelligence to be able to protect our users in real time. And being around as long as we have, and being a visionary in our own space, we've been recognized by Gartner as a leader in their Magic Quadrant for the 9th year in a row now, which is obviously quite an impressive feature. And again, that Zscaler or Zscaler, depending on what side of the fence you're sat on, it stands for the zenith of scalability. So the unique thing about our architecture and how we're delivering this to customers is we can protect some very unique customers, but some unique customers in unique ways. So Siemens, protecting them in 185 different countries, globally dispersed around the world. And I really like not just the locations protected and the user protected, but the monthly Office 365 traffic that we're able to protect as well. So again, when I first started presenting Zscaler and talking about Zscaler, this slide used to consist of YouTube monthly traffic, which obviously tells me two things. More companies are adopting Office 365 as a core business application, and they're using Zscaler to be able to secure that connection to their services. And again, down the bottom there, I always get the question thrown at me, what verticals, where do you work well, and what companies do you really work well with? And really the answer there is any company that's been affected by cloud and mobility, any company that is looking at digital transformation, this is where our sweet spot is, and this is where we're able to use our services to better get into those applications. So delivering far secure and reliable access to applications and data. So looking at, I suppose, the core business services that Zscaler is able to deliver. So Zscaler, we sit in the exchange ports, and in doing that, we're able to protect our users in some unique ways. So we've got our Zscaler Internet Access Service. This is bringing security and business policies to users regardless of device or location. So that outbound security stack that used to sit on network that we're talking about, what we've done here is taken this complete outbound security stack and delivered it as a service to your customers and to your users, regardless of any device or any location. So this is enabling your users to break out to the open internet securely, and also to be able to get fast and reliable access into SaaS applications. After our Zscaler Internet Access Platform came out, we had a lot of customers saying, this is great that you're securing our access to the open internet on our SaaS applications. But look, I've got a lot of internal applications. We've got this inbound security gateway, which is still a concern of ours. And we're looking to try and move a lot of these applications into multi-purpose clouds. Is this something that you can help us out with? And again, this is where we were able to bring out our Zscaler private access and be able to accommodate our customers with exactly that. So different to what a VPN service does, when a VPN places a user onto a network, and how I always look at it is, it's essentially you open up your crown jewels to your user. That user comes back onto a network wherever that user is, anywhere in the world. And effectively, they've got the keys to be able to access any data what they can if you haven't segregated it properly. And again, I suppose having that inbound connection, what you've got there is essentially an attack surface, which is visible for all to see. Our Zscaler private access works uniquely different in a couple of different ways, but from just an attack surface way and how we're able to operate is we're not users to network. We're users to applications. So whether that application is still on your data center or you've made the move over to AWS, Microsoft Azure, for example, what we're doing is placing an outbound connection via a micro segmented tunnel to that user, to that application, effectively getting rid of that attack surface, giving you better visibility, better control, and scalable, which has really been a testament in these trying times with COVID-19, with a lot more customers becoming a remote worker and needing a service to be able to scale with them. We then brought out our Zscaler B2B, so our Zscaler business-to-business applications. So this is a case of when I'm talking to customers that have a external portal where they're needing to have their customers access this portal and to do this securely. I always get the question fired at me saying, well, look, I need to keep a static IP address because I need to be able to prove that it's myself to be able to access my third-party portal, or this is something that we make our customers have to be able to access our customer portal. I think it's a broken notion, really, by having a static IP address to prove who you are, because it's an easy thing to spoof and it's an easy thing to circumvent. So our Zscaler B2B secures your external customers via our service directly to your Zscaler, directly to your portal through Zscaler. So it's a more secure way to be able to access your external customers to your internal portals. And lastly, I suppose looking at the notion of how the world used to be, where our applications used to sit on the network, our users used to sit on the network. Typically, when something went wrong, we'll be able to point a finger and find out where the problem was pretty quickly. In the new world of cloud and mobility, it's much harder to be able to do that. Applications are moving to other third-party sites. Our users are accessing data from different locations on different devices. It's hard to be able to pinpoint if something uniquely has gone wrong and where it's gone wrong. So our Zscaler digital monitoring experience, this gives you a 360-degree view of everything that's happening. So the unique thing about this is because we're sat in the exchange ports, because we're peering with the likes of Office 365, and because we've got our Zscaler connectors sitting where your applications are, we're able to give you that 360-degree view and highlight exactly where anything's going wrong if it is. So connection to Office 365 going down, is there something wrong with the Office 365 services? It might be fine in the UK, but where your users are trying to access the data, perhaps in Singapore, that's where Office 365 might be experiencing some challenges. And that's where you'll be able to give you that direct visibility into that. And again, just to give you that global coverage, Zscaler being delivered as a service, we've got over 150 data centers globally dispersed in all areas of the continent. So 6 of the 7 continents, as if I say it is a challenge to try and get one in Antarctica. But what this is doing is being able to bring security and business policies to your users, regardless of any device or any location and where they are. So the 4 areas that I suppose we can pinpoint and really where we're helping our customers and helping companies at the moment is really around that acceleration to cloud adoption. We're enabling companies to do this application transformation and to do this securely by using our service to be able to re-architect your network. We're up-leveling that security as well. Uniquely, what we're doing is we're moving away from the IP address being where the security is to the identity of the user is what we're interested in. So regardless of device, regardless of location, what we're doing is authenticating against the user. We're bringing security to the user, and when we're able to up-level that in some unique ways of inline cloud sandboxing, SSL inspection, and others, and provide customers and end user better experience. So obviously with adopting more services over the internet and cloud applications, naturally a lot of the drivers between doing this is to give users better experience and faster access to data. By doing this with a convoluted way of bringing people back onto a network to go through those security appliances, typically you're going against best practices. I know Microsoft themselves being able to adopt their applications, they say to get the best out of their services, you need to be coming to them from a direct internet access, and that is exactly where we are able to add value and bring that security policies to the users. And lastly, it's around reducing cost and infrastructure. Typically the customer conversations that I have there is a lot of the traffic that used to move east to west to be able to access the data center and to be able to access those applications. As we're moving more data over the internet, and we're still moving that traffic east to west to be able to come out of one localized place, is an expensive way to use your MPLS. So typically what we're enabling is that direct to cloud approach, being able to reduce that east-west traffic and to be adopt more of the north-south traffic and go over the internet securely. And although Zscaler does a lot and we provide a lot of features and a lot of functionality to our customers, we've got a modern cloud ecosystem, and there's a number of different partners that we work with and to better get performance out of our service. So whether that's via identity management services such as Okta, Azure AD, to be able to bring authentication to the user, so we can authenticate the user and give them the business policies and security policies wherever they are. Or whether it's endpoint protection with Microsoft, or we've got a unique relationship with CrowdStrike now, where we're able to integrate their APIs to add value to zero-day threats, or to ensure that this is a CrowdStrike customer in your environment before accessing internal resources and internal applications. Branch networking. A lot of the conversations that we're having with customers is around this network transformation journey. So whether that's moving away from MPLS, looking to adopt more of an SD-WAN approach, and where Zscaler is able to fit into this model and really add value, is where the SD-WAN is doing that east-west traffic. Typically Zscaler is coming in and securing that north-south traffic as well, so adding value to that, whether it's building an IPsec or a GRE tunnel directly by one of those SD-WAN providers as well. And of course, around those security operations, being able to take all of this data that we're accumulating and being able to give it to you in an intelligent way to be able to do something with that. And I always think it's unique around our architecture, and always a key point to make and talk about with why is our cloud different to potentially other clouds that you're looking at, and what makes Zscaler completely different. And fundamentally, when people say, well, what's different about Zscaler to anyone else, and how are you able to deliver value to myself and my customers, it's really around the architecture and a three-tier architecture that Zscaler is designed from the ground up. So being a visionary and seeing that cloud and mobility was going to be such a disruptor in IT, and building our cloud from the ground up, we're able to deliver this fast, secure access from your users to your applications wherever you are. So I know Gartner has coined something SASE, Secure Access Service Edge, and really that is the pinnacle of what our architecture is. So our platform services, what we've built here is a multi-tenanted architecture. What's unique about this is the fact that we're able to scale with our customers, and certainly this has been tested over the last couple of months, with a lot more people adopting our services due to remote working, due to the effects of COVID-19. But again, what I find uniquely different is there is no roof. There is no case of saying, well, we're going to buy X amount of licenses and these are the features that we want, and then if we need to have additional licenses or we need to have additional features, we've got an additional overhead or latency to deal with. Because Zscaler is a service and delivered as a service, and our cloud architecture is already there for our customers to adopt as a software as a service, there is no roof. There is no ceiling that they're going to hit. Any customers that look to adopt additional services or push additional traffic through us, there is no additional latency and there is no additional overhead that they've got to concur. That zero attack surface, because we're getting rid of that internal connection, because we're eliminating the need to place a user to a network, we're able to give you that zero attack surface and adopt more of a software defined perimeter and a zero trust network access. Proxy architecture is in our bread and butter, because we've been built in this proxy architecture and did it from the ground up. One of the massive USPs for Zscaler is undoubtedly being able to do SSL at scale, which typically with the internet now being 80–90% HTTPS as a standard, showing the more importance to be able to look inside of that encrypted traffic and make sure no threats are coming down onto your network or down onto the user. And again, already mentioned it there with that zero trust network access. As we're able to give you application segmentation and place a user to an application, regardless of any location or device, what you're able to do there is adopt a true zero trust network access. And just to summarize here, I suppose what I've been saying and what we've been talking about there with the old world and coming into the new world and this digital transformation that companies are talking about, or having some sort of cloud first architecture, cloud first strategy. Is a case of the data center, the center of gravity of the world, is moving into this new cloud data center as we're moving more applications off of network and into the cloud, which is really pushing us away from this hub and spoke architecture where we're backhauling our users on premise to go through these security appliances. What we're looking at is internet is the new network. Users, wherever they are in the world, on any location, on any device, they just want to be able to access their data and do it as fast as possible. And again, moving away from this castle and moat network security, we're moving more into this business policies connecting apps, devices, and users. So bringing users to the applications and the user's identity being the new IP address. And users connect to the network for application access. So again, like I said there, right throughout, is being able to give users application-based access. We're moving away from this network-based model, being able to adopt that zero trust network access. And that's my piece done on Zscaler as a whole. Terry, I'll pass it back to yourself.
Thank you, Daniel. You should be able to see my screen.
I can, yep.
Yeah, so brilliant, Daniel. Thank you for that. It's really insightful, and obviously we can't mention some of the projects we're working on, but we're working on some really interesting projects with you, and the support that we get from Zscaler is brilliant as well. So thank you very much for supporting us on the webinar today.
No problem. Happy to be on.
Brilliant. And the other part as well, I probably should have mentioned at the start, and I didn't, so my bad there. But I manage or head up the Workspace practice. My counterpart, Jen Norman, she looks after our network and infrastructure practice. So if customers that we're talking to do have requirements around the network aspect of it, we can help customers with the complete end-to-end solution. And some of the partners that Daniel mentioned there that integrate with Zscaler are partners that XMA work with as well. So effectively, I hate saying the word, but a one-stop shop, just making it hassle-free for our customers, which kind of that's onto our store, which is still open for business as usual. There's some changes that have been made to the online store to make it easy for customers to purchase and browse and all that great stuff. So nothing changes there. It's still business as usual. And that kind of really brings us to the end of today's webinar. Like I mentioned, we're here to support. There's a couple of questions that have come through. They are customers, Daniel, that we're engaging with, so we'll go back to those customers offline. But any other questions, if you use the details on the screen here, or feel free to reach out to your account managers. We'll come back to you straight away. But massive thank you, Daniel, for supporting us again.
Not a problem at all. Thank you again for having me on. Hopefully it's been insightful for those who are looking at digital transformation, are looking at trying to adopt cloud applications and mobility in a more secure way.
Excellent. Thank you, Daniel, and thank you to all the customers that have joined us today. We appreciate everyone's busy, but thanks for taking the time out to join us today. And if you are interested in any of the other webinars, if you just go onto our website, xma.co.uk, you'll be able to see the banner for the webinars, and you can kind of have a look at the other ones that were done on demand, and this one will also be available on demand pretty soon. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day and stay safe. Thanks.
Thanks all.